I don't think we've done a bump date this year going into the 2026 foaling season. So let's do a little bump date. If you haven't seen that before, we measure all the mama's bellies and we kind of keep track of all of the changes and how big they get before they foal. So Miss Raven here is our first mare due in 2026. She is due January 20th. Yeah. Today, like, you're going to see this a little bit later than obviously we filmed it. So it's going to be literally a month probably from when y'all see this that she'll have her baby, which is insane. So
really soon.
I know. Isn't that crazy? Did you have PTSD from foaling season? Like, we're about to be like locked down after Christmas. So let's just go ahead and see how big she is. I'll go ahead and tell you, because we do these on TikTok. She and Indy are kind of at a race right now for biggest mama, for biggest belly. So let's see how she is, if she has hit that number 100 yet. I don't know. This is just the uniform until about March.
Yeah.
You know? All right, hey, what do you think you're gonna be? I know, we're exploiting your large tummy. It's fine though. You get all the free hay.
I think I'm gonna be.
Whoa, baby. Ugh.
What was she last time?
Like 96.
Okay. I'm gonna say 97.
And she's like fresh off of breakfast. 96 on the dot. Mind you, we did this like a week ago, so she hasn't really grown or nothing. But 96 inches for Miss Raven. You're a big girl. I'm kind of thinking Indy's gonna be bigger, she's coming up next. So again, Raven, she is due January 20th. Look at her bag versus Indy's, because this is a good little example. She has the tiniest bit of a bag beginning to form. So her bag, meaning her udder. So come look at this. Her teats are still very small, but there is just like a little bit of what you can see, like some production starting. So look at her udder, because Indy, I looked at her last night and she has like none, and they're like 2 weeks apart. So it kind of shows that like stark difference between her being a month out from foaling and her still being like a good 6 to 8 weeks. All right, next up, look at this big mama coming in. Big old mama. And I'm not talking about Rachel being weird over there. Rachel, stop being weird on camera. Look at this big old woman. Oh my gosh. Okay, so like I said, Indy and Raven, they're our first two due. So Indy is due February 7th. So she's due like 2 weeks after Miss Raven. Her belly, it's always the biggest of the year, no matter what. This will be our third baby with Miss Indy, and she just always has a gigantic belly. She is a thoroughbred. She's also older. She's a senior mare. She's 17, and she's carried multiple foals. So that's going to kind of feed into her having that bigger belly. She is a little bit jealous that her friend is walking out. So we're going to do this quick. How big do we think, guys? Do we think she's going to beat that 96 incher? I think she is. Got to give you the biggest point. Oh, Lord. Oh! Huh. I can't even reach underneath. They're so big. 97 on the dot. So she's only an inch bigger than Raven. It's funny how they carry so different, because her belly looks just so gigantic comparatively. But Miss Indy, so Indy is only a couple weeks different from Raven with her due date, but she has like 0 milk production. Now her teats are longer because she's had multiple babies, but there's nothing in there. My neck is cold as well. I don't think I'm, like, how are you still a little warm with nothing on? And I'm sitting here being like, my neck's a little chilly.
Genuinely, the only thing cold on me right now is my hand.
My lower body is very warm. I have really thick sweatpants on underneath this. I don't fill these out, okay? I don't fill these out. I have thick sweatpants on that make me look like Squidward. And
Are those the Squidward pants?
no,
Oh, no, those are Squidward colored.
the other ones are Squidward. These are the same-ish pants, but. Rickithin. Okay, so Rikki here is third due. She's due February 9th, and she's a new mare to us. So I purchased her while she was pregnant. We have never foaled her out. She's also been a show horse up until this pregnancy, and I even rode her over the summer. So you'll notice she's keeping a little bit better of a figure, because she's just got those abdominal muscles working for her that the other mares just don't have anymore. So she's staying a little bit on the slimmer side. She's also a maiden. Maiden, if you watched my horse term videos, you know what that means. First time mom. She's never had a baby. So her, let me see also. Yeah, oh, you should see the difference between her titties and Indy's titties, because she has 0 bag as well, but you'll notice her teats are like this big because she ain't never had something eaten off of them. So I'm gonna guess she's in the 80s still. I don't think she's hit the 90s. Oh, we're close. When she breathes, 89 3/4 we'll give her. 89 3/4. Look at like Nate, you'll see the difference. You'll see the difference. Just look up in there. So it's kind of like with Raven, we don't know either. We've never had a baby with her. Indy, with her 2 past babies, we can guess that she's going to kind of go to her due date because that's what she's done in the past. We don't know with Rikki because A, she's never had a baby, and I don't know her that well. So we'll see with this first baby kind of what she does for us. But she is not due until February 9th.
It was a Snapchat filter.
What was the filter?
Do you want to see it?
Yeah, share with the class.
If you're not following Snapchat to see beauties like these, you should be.
Wait, that's me.
Yeah!
Oh my gosh.
I didn't even see that was me. That's hilarious.
Charlotte is a recip mare. This will be her first baby. They're all a little spicy this morning because it's cold. They haven't been out yet. We're doing this on their way out to their pasture. So Charlotte is carrying a really special baby. Now, she was severely underweight when I got her. She actually was saved from a kill pen. And so it is such a like heartwarming thing to see her body be so healthy and able to like nourish this baby and have a belly. You know what I'm saying? Like the fact that she has a baby bump, I just love it so much.
Yeah.
So let's see if she'll let us. If not, then we'll just take a look at her, you know? She normally lets me, but we're always doing it as they come in, not as they go out.
Okay.
Hi, sweetheart. Good girl. Good girl, Charlotte. Good girl, Charlotte. Good girl, Charlotte. Good girl, Charlotte. 86 inches. Miss Charlotte. Now, again, she's a maiden. She's just like Rikki. They haven't had a baby, so we have 2 maidens in a row. Love that for us. We'll see how it goes. My mares, I think, tend to stay around 92 to 102 inches around. And this isn't something that everyone does. Like measuring them, this isn't like it doesn't make you a bad horse owner and a bad like animal. I don't know. It doesn't make you a bad breeder for not measuring their bellies. I started doing this purely out of like fun.
Yeah.
Like I thought it'd be fun to keep track of. It did help me though one time because Indy a couple years ago lost her foal really late and she drastically dropped in inches, but I don't think I would have noticed just looking at her.
Mm.
And so I had the vet come out and check and she had lost her baby.
Oh.
Yeah. So Lexi, this foaling season is going to be interesting because we have 4 mares due very close together between, well, I say 4, 5 if you count the mini mare. We'll go see her in a second. So the mini mare's also due in February. We'll do her at the very end. This little girl, Lexi, she's a recip, and she isn't due until March 12th. So we have a break from February 12th to March 12th in due dates. So it's like 4 mares, Lexi, and then 3 weeks later, 4 more mares. Thank you so much for being the sweet girl. Now, Lexi is from a recip farm in Texas. Very sweet girl, but she's a little more skittish than some others. You good? She's been letting me lately. But again, it's morning. It's morning. I don't think I did around her biggest part of her belly last time. Here we go.
This is an
8.5. 88.5. She's a little chunky. It's okay. I feel like she was over 90 already last time, so maybe she's like a little, I don't know. But she's got a precious cargo in there. All right, that is Lexi. Lexi is also what we believe to be a maiden, and I've never foaled her out before, obviously, if she's a maiden. I only got her a few months ago when she had already been bred with the embryo that I purchased that she is carrying. Phoebe, however, I got her in the same way that I bought the embryo she was carrying, and then I bought her and put another baby in her. And so Phoebe has come leaps and bounds from last year. So like I said, Lexi's kind of like our middle girl, March 12th. Phoebe starts off our April due dates at April 8th. Now, she did have her baby a little early this past year. There's a couple things we're changing this year to see, because I had a lot of early babies the last couple of years. Not in like, well, take 7 out of it. I had a lot of like mid 320s, late 320s. I didn't have like a whole lot in the 330s. I only had my couple of mares that go to like their full term. And so what we're doing this year is, like last year, we just kind of left my whole barn on timers. So with our mares that we're trying to keep cycling, with our mares that we're trying to keep slick, you keep them under lights for 16 hours per day. And so you have lights that are on timers and they go off at like 11 o'clock at night. And it keeps them cycling for early breeding in the winter. So we kind of just kept the whole barn on that to make it easy, because we swap out stalls quite often. This year we're being really intentional on having the brood mares be in dark stalls and not be on under lights. We'll see if it works. We'll see if it changes anything. I don't know. Hi, are you also energetic? We're just gonna do this. You've done it a bunch. Thank you. Hi, big girl. Easy, girlfriend. Easy, girlfriend. When I first got her, do you remember trying to do this last year?
Yeah.
Hi, big girl. 87 and a quarter. 87 and a quarter. It's so funny because you look at her and like, you're getting huge. But then you look at Rikki and you're like, she's not big at all. And they're the same. You know? I don't know. It's just the way they carry things. So Miss Phoebe is not due until April. She kind of kicks off our April group. Next will be Maggie. They're both carrying Kennedy babies. Kennedy, vs. the First Lady, if you want to watch her foaling this past year, she had a filly named Kirby. So she is taking a year off. We pulled embryos. We have 2 of her babies in recip mares. So Phoebe being one, Phoebe's carrying a full sibling to my stallion Denver, first things first. And then Maggie is carrying a full sibling to Kirby, who was born this year. So Maggie is another one who's like, she never gets huge. She's a thoroughbred, and again, she's not due till April, so she might not get bigger until, a couple months from now. Oh, they're all scared of this blanket. They're all terrified of it.
They do all stop.
Mags. Hi, sweetheart. I need you to look at what we're doing so then you're not scared. She's not listening. Not listening whatsoever. So Maggie stays kind of small. Now, I got her kind of late in her pregnancy the first time. This will be her second baby. She had last year off. The first pregnancy was with Molly, who's one of our yearlings. And she stayed pretty small the entire time. I don't even know if she got over 90 inches. And 85 and a half. So, I mean, for being later on, she's only like an inch behind some of the ones that are way closer in due date. But she looks so thin, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does.
It's just interesting how they carry so different. So, there's Maggie. Hi, Happy. Oh, also, they're all filthy. It's muddy in winter. They go outside every day. So, don't fault us for that. Happy and Annie, who's gonna be the last one, they're due the same day. So, April 11th. Happy and Annie, this will be both of their third babies. Both of them are bred to First Things First. Super excited about that. So Miss Happy, I think, is a little on the larger side. Let me see here. Again, the construction is just ongoing. It just is. 86 and a half. So again, it's like after Raven and Indy, everybody else is kind of like the same.
Yeah.
Raven and Indy are just gigantic. So Happy, you're staying nice, and let's just keep that going for another month or two, okay? Because she got big last year. I cannot wait. Her and Denver's baby is gonna have like the most lethal face card of the year. There's no way it doesn't. All right, Annie is the last one. She and Happy have the same due date. Funny, Annie was born on this property, so she's my girl. I've had her for 10 years. Whoa, sweetie. So again, this will be her third baby. She generally goes to her due date or over. So we'll see. 88. 88 on the dot. All right, let's go. We're going to go just look at them out in their pasture because I got to explain something. And then we got to go measure Coco as the last mare. So her mom was boarded here. It was an ex-show horse. And hey, look at her udder really quick. Did I? Whoa. No, that's kind of what Kennedy was doing last year. Go ahead. Well, go ahead and call Dr. Matthew and let's put her on SMZs.
Okay.
Because she's not due for a long time.
Yeah.
So he might need to come out here and ultrasound her and see if she has a. So this is why we look. This is why we look all the time. So look at her teats. That was not that way. She did this to us though, I think the first year. But she's so not near there. She's only like at day 2. Is she even at 250 yet? No.
I don't think so.
So yeah, we gotta figure this out. She's got full teats with like a little bit of stuff coming out. So that's why we check. We're gonna make sure. So Kennedy did this to us last year. Granted, it was a little bit later in her pregnancy, and so we, got her on meds and like on antibiotics. And if she does have some sort of like placentitis or something like that, then hopefully we can fix that with antibiotics. But like, yeah, bagging up this early, not something you want. So we got to fix that now. That's why we check though. So let's go. We'll look out here and let me explain to you why we have some of our mares on grass and some of them not on grass. It's been needed for years, but this year we finally pulled the plug. So, not pulled the plug, pulled the trigger. Pulled the trigger. So this pasture is always the muddiest. It is always the one that's the hardest to grow grass, and it's the flattest. It's still not flat, but it's the flattest. And so with us having, super muddy, wet winters, I think this one's gonna be extra wet if you look at the Farmer's Almanac. But we put a mixture of sand and quarter down in this to be a dry lot, so there's no grass growing, because in Tennessee we have fescue grass, which is our native grass, and it has an endophyte in it that can cause early deliveries. It can cause, we'll probably pull Annie off of grass now, just to be sure. Cause early deliveries, placental abruption. It can cause them to not have any milk production, things like that. So this is where we're putting all of our mares that are within like 3 months of their due date. This is like a game changer for us because it gives them enough space. Before we were using kind of smaller dry lots, and I felt so bad for the last couple of months of their pregnancy because I'm like, all you have is this tiny dry lot. Well, now they've got this like mega dry lot that was once a pasture. So this has been a game changer. But let's move over to the mini barn. I will give you like a little tidbit. Look at back there. You see that back there?
That mega thing.
That mega thing. New barn. It's on the way. It's on the way. Coco's the most, well, no. Janice is now back to being the most svelte out of everyone. She has dropped weight. She looks great. Coco is.
What word did you just say?
Svelte?
Svelte?
Yeah.
Never heard of her.
Put the definition up on the screen. Coco, don't be like that. Don't be like that, Coco. Oh. You've been caught. Okay. We're gonna bring you right back out. You'll be fine. By the way, the other night, somebody left her gate open. And so, would you like to know where I found her at 11 o'clock at night?
Having the time of her life.
Having the time of her life, but she was over at the highest point of the retaining wall eating the sod.
Oh my gosh.
She is going to spend her life trying to get back to that sod. Karen was in here throwing a fit.
I mean, if they were out here,
Look at her seething. She's over there seething mad. Like, she was in here and Coco didn't let her out too, and she was just kicking so mad. Oh. All right, so Let's see if she's broken that, I don't know that she was over 400 last time. Was she? I think she was right over 400 the last time we weighed her. She's dense. You've done this a few times now. Whoa. Are all 4 on? All 4 are on. 398. 398. So, Miss Coco is due in February. I believe she's due February 10th. And minis, so like we go by day 320 as the safe date for the big horses. Minis, you still want them to get there. You would prefer they cook them that long. But they can have earlier pregnancies and earlier births and the baby still be healthy. So like early 300s, they can still do. So we could be looking at a January baby for Miss Coco as well. So we'll see. It'll be kind of a race between Coco and Raven and Indy as to who foals first. Wouldn't that be crazy if the first foal was Minnie?
That'd be crazy.
We'll be excited. So if we're going to be on foal watch for one, why not be on foal watch for both? So Coco, I think she was like 60 something. If I had to guess what I remember right now. She's also she's furry. We're going to have to be doing some body clipping as we get closer because the baby, she's so furry under here, the baby needs to be able to eat. 60. I mean, if I pull it a little bit to where it's not like her fluff, 64 and an eighth. Right over 64. So she's a big girl.
Nice.
Isn't that crazy that she's only 10 inches smaller around? 10 to 15 smaller around than the big horses?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Lindsay, do you feel comfortable tossing her back out? We've been throwing Lindsay to the wolves lately. I know, look at Karen, just ominous. Karen is just seething with anger that she was not chosen to go in. We've been throwing Lindsay to the wolves a little bit, or at least I have been. I've been like, you feel good, taking that horse in? You feel, whatever. So she's been doing a lot more of the handling.
Yeah.
She's been doing good. Okay, those are the bump dates. We are inching up on foaling season. Let us know if you have any questions that we might be able to answer in a Catching Up with Katie or anything like that. If you want us to cover it, a terms video. We want to make sure that you are as prepared as possible for foaling season with your knowledge. So, hope you enjoyed. See you the next one.